But I knew we had Father's Day coming up, and I was prepared, and I had my thought, tried to develop it, and man, I was hitting the wall. I was hitting the wall yesterday. I was working at it, and I hit the wall again, and I had already read the text days before, meditated on it, but I just kept hitting this wall. I was like, shucks. Even my kids, he said, what you got, writer's block? What you got, preacher's block? I was like, I guess so, because I'm hitting the wall. And so I closed my eyes to take a nap, and I couldn't even sleep. Might have had to close 5 minutes. And boom, I shot up, and I just started typing, and then I was done. So hopefully it makes sense. I went back over it this morning. It makes sense in my head, but you guys, really, not to, let me see, this gotta come out right. I'm not complaining. I'm simply stating reality. When you prepare sermons almost 52 weeks out the year, and that's not including all the Bible studies you gotta teach, and all these different things, like sometimes you be like, man, stuff get jumping, you be thinking, did I preach that already? And you know what I mean? You gotta be in prayer like, God, what do you want me to say? Like, I don't know. I preached that already. I don't know what to say, right? So what he gave me was, and I didn't even really title it, I just call it the Father, because I don't know what to, right? So when we often read the prodigal son, we read it from the viewpoint or the perspective of the son. Very seldomly do we look at the story from the father's perspective. And so, it being Father's Day, I thought it would be cool to look at this from the father's perspective. Okay? And so, what you see behind you is a portrait. Some of y'all are like, what in the world is that? Historically, that's a portrait that was worth a ton of money. It's a 17th century portrait painted by Rembrandt. Okay? And it's his depiction of the prodigal son. So he actually hit the book of Luke, did his reading, and he painted this portrait of it. And if you don't know who Rembrandt is, he's right up there with Picasso and Michelangelo and all them famous guys. So this is his portrait of the prodigal son. So I just kind of wanted to give us a visual of what it may have looked like. So it's in Luke chapter 15, verse number 11. The text starts off by saying, Jesus continued. Now this is Jesus speaking. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of the estate. So he divided his property between them. Now watch this. First thing I paid attention to was this. Being a father, you learn some things. So the younger son asked for his money. Give me my money. And it had to be hard on the father to give the money to the son who he knew was irresponsible. Mm-hmm. Well, the Bible didn't say he was irresponsible. It didn't have to. He's the father. The father knows his child. So I can't imagine the anguish he was going through thinking, I'm about to give this boy all this money and I know he's going to blow it.
That's a fact.
One viewpoint of this sermon, talking to my fellas, if I had to title it something, I would call it the difficult decisions of a dad. The difficult decisions of a dad. Sometimes we got to make decisions that ain't always popular. Sometimes we got to do stuff that people don't even see the stress that we go through having to make that decision. All they see is the end result. They just see us make the decision, and then, why would you do that? Da, 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 da. But they don't see the anguish going on inside of us because we battling and we knowing if I make this decision or that decision, it's going to affect the whole family. But we can't sit there and we can't cry about it because if I sit there and cry about it now, I'm seeing this weak. And we all know that nobody wants a weak man. Another thing that jumps out to me is the fact that this man had 2 sons. And this is where many people get confused. Because they say, well, if the older son didn't ask for nothing, why did he have to get his? It was the younger one being irresponsible. He's the one asking for money. fair. How is that fair? Now watch this. In life, a lot of times we complain because we look at two sons and we look at the situation and we try to balance it and make it even. And we try to make things fair. But how can we expect fair when we don't